I taken out classes.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, welcome. So, where you were?
Yes, sir.
Please.
We have completed the female reproductive system, and we have to start moving.
Okay, we have to start with the female reproductive system, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, Asma, am I audible to you?
Yes.
Okay, fine. So, we have to start with the female reproductive system, right?
Yes.
So, fine. So first, we'll study the external structure of the female reproductive system, in its morphological structure, anatomical structure, right? So this is basically anatomical structure of the female reproductive system. In female reproductive system, there is a quite different with the male reproductive system. Look, in the female reproductive system, this upper part is called uterine fundus. This upper part. Basically, this is made up of three kind of the layer. The outermost layer is called perimetrium. This is basically made up of epithelial layer, right? So it's a made up of epithelial layer. Basically, or the covering of any of the organism, any of the animal. The internal covering or external covering are always made up of epithelial layer. It may be the different kind of the epithelial layer, but generally the covering of the organs are always made up of epithelial layer. So same here. The outer covering, that is called perimetrium, that is made up of epithelial layer. The myometrium, this thick part includes the myometrium. Myometrium basically made up of smooth muscles. So can you tell me what is the property of smooth muscles? Do you have any idea? You must have gone through in the structural organization of animal in the chapter, which is actually the animal anatomy, or rather I should say that's human anatomy. You must have gone through with that chapter during your 11th class. So what is the specialty of smooth muscles? Aisha, any idea? Asma, smooth muscles? You must have studied three kind of the muscles.
Sir, can you repeat it again?
Yeah, sure. Look, I said that the uterus part, this complete uterus, this is the female reproductive structure. In female reproductive structure, this part is called actually uterus part. This part is called uterus part. Out of this uterus part, the wall of uterus are made up of three kind of the tissues: perimetrium, myometrium, and endometrium. Perimetrium is the external covering of the uterus, right? Female reproductive structure. So outer covering of the uterus is made up of perimetrium. Perimetrium basically made up of a layer of tissues called epithelial tissue. The type of the tissue which make the perimetrium, that is the epithelial tissue. This middle layer, which is the thick layer, that is made up of a type of muscles. These muscles are called smooth muscles. So my question was that, what is the specialty of what is the property of smooth muscles?
Smooth muscles, if it helps during childbirth, and hello sir, am I audible?
Yeah.
It helps during childbirth.
Okay, so can you tell me what is the specialty of smooth muscles? You must have gone through with three kind of muscles: cardiac muscle, smooth muscle, and straighted, right?
Hello.
Yeah. So do they have any special function?
Smooth
special
muscle.
property? They are? Yes, please tell me. They are?
When it's let me say. Yeah, I remember it. They can tense and relax the greater property as compared to the stratic and organ muscles.
Yeah. You was close to the answer. Actually, okay, very good. So at least you attempted. I appreciate it. So smooth muscles are those muscles which actually they are involuntary. They're involuntary. They cannot be controlled. They are uncontrolled. Got it? So they are uncontrolled, means they are involuntary muscles, right? And you was absolutely right that they work during the process of childbirth, right? Next, this is the endometrium. The endometrium, specialty of the endometrium, that this layer is formed at the initial month of every like during the menstrual cycle. At the starting of the menstrual cycle, formation of this layer takes place, endometrium. At the end of menstrual cycle, this layer get destroyed. So every time the new layer is formed. So endometrium is not a permanent layer. Formation and destruction of layer keep on taking place at every 28 days. But when the pregnancy takes place, the layer becomes permanent. It do not get rupture. Then at that time, it get rupture finally at the time of the pertubation or at the time of childbirth, right? So the uterus is made up of three kind of layer: perimetrium, myometrium, and endometrium. Endometrium layer is also made up of epithelial layer, right? Fine. So the space which is this triangular space is called uterine cavity. The property of uterine cavity that it can extend up to 500 times during the pregnancy, right? At the a female, in general, which is not a pregnant, a normal female, the volume of this uterine cavity is 10 centimeter cubic, but at the time of pregnancy it becomes 500 centimeter cubic, right? So this layer, this space, it enlarges itself 500 times, right? That is the property of this one. Then this tube like structure which connect to the uterus with the ovary. So these are the ovary. Every human female have two ovary, and I want to please note it down, but the birds have only one ovary. Birds do not have two ovary. Birds always have one ovary, right? But in the humans there are a pair of ovary. One more thing I want to tell you: these both of the ovary do not secrete or do not ovulate or do not secrete the ova simultaneously. 1 month alternatively. If suppose that this month ova have been secreted by this ovary, number one, then next time this will become deactivate and this ovary will secrete ova. So alternatively, every ovary secrete ova. How does this process work? Scientists do not know still. Still, it is undiscovered thing. Scientists do not know how does this function takes place, that alternatively every ovary secrete the ova. But that is a true. Every month, both of the ovary do not secrete the ova. In alternative way, every ovary secrete the ova. This tube-like structure, is called fallopian tube. Fallopian tube connect uterus with the ovary. Now the fallopian tube have three parts. This long part is called isthmus. This part is called ampulla, and this part is called infundibulum. So this funnel-like structure is called infundibulum. This part is called okay, no issue. Fine. So Aisha.
Yes.
So this is the isthmus. This part is called ampulla, and this part is called infundibulum, right? And the outermost structure and this structure, this finger-like structure, they are called basically fembrae, right? And they keep on moving like this way, right?
Yes.
Ovary secrete the ova. Ova comes out, and this ova is sucked. Actually, these do not remain in the contact. Ovary and membrane, they do not remain in the contact with each other. Actually, ovary secrete the ova. The membrane move like this way. They suck the ova. Ova comes over here, and then it is propagated further. Actually, the fallopian tube have some cilia or hair-like structure. These hair-like structure give movement to the ova. Ova reaches to ampulla, then reaches to isthmus. And here at the isthmus part between the ampulla and isthmus, at here exactly at this point, here the fusion of sperm and ova takes place. So this part where the uterine cavity open, this is called cervix. This part is called cervical canal, and this part is called vagina. So this was something about everything about the female reproductive stuff. Did you got that point? Is it clear, Aisha?
Yes, sir.
So please take the screenshot and start writing down about the female reproductive stuff, right?
Okay, sir. Shall I take the screenshot?
Yeah, sure. You should take the screenshot and leave a space at your notebook. After the class, please draw it.
Okay, sure, sir. So I took the screenshot.
Yeah. Leave the space for the diagram. and draw the diagram after class, because if you draw right now, it will take lots of time.
Then, sir, I have left this.
Okay. Should I start?
Yeah.
Okay. Fine. So start coding now.
Okay.
The female reproductive system. The female reproductive system consists of a pair of ovary, comma, a pair of fallopian tube, in bracket, also called oviduct, bracket closed, comma, uterus, comma, vagina, comma, external genital, and breast.
And
Okay.
then,
Full stop. Next point. The ovaries lie in the lower part of abdomen. Ovaries lie in the lower part of abdomen, held to lower part of abdomen,
sir, after lower part of abdomen,
held to
held to, okay.
broad ligament, full stop.
Okay.
This one actually, you know, this part, this is actually ligament. So ovary remains connected with the help of this tube. They remain suspended with the help of ligament. So this is the ligament, right? So with the help of ligament, they remains connected with the uterus wall. They remains connected with the fallopian tube, and they also remains connected with the back side of the body, right?
Okay.
Next point. The ovaries have both kind of function. Ovaries have both kind of function. That is exocrine, as well as endocrine. So, Aisha, can you tell me what is the exocrine and what is endocrine?
Exocrine and endocrine, right? So,
look, exocrine gland are those glands you must have studied in class 11th. Exocrine gland, yes.
I know, sir. Those glands that release the those drugs that release the release on the surface of cells or organelles, and endocrine. Sir, can I say for endocrine?
Yeah, sure.
Endocrine glands are the glands that do not have duct in the system.
Very good.
Do not have a duct system, and they release their secretion directly in the bloodstream.
Very good. And exocrine?
They have duct system.
Very good.
They release on the target cells.
They release enzymes and other functions, right? Fine.
Yes.
Very good. Excellent. So endocrine gland are those glands which secrete hormone, and they do not have duct. They directly release hormone into blood, right? And with the help of blood, hormones reaches to the target organ. Exocrine gland are those glands, basically they secrete enzyme. Either they secrete enzyme or some other function other than hormone secretion, right? Here the ovary have both kind of the function. Ovary is called exocrine gland because it secrete ova, right? So any gland which is gland but do not have endocrine function, they are called exocrine gland. It is called endocrine gland because it also secrete some hormones, right? So the hormones which is secreted by ovary, they are estrogen and progesterone, right? So
Yeah.
estrogen and progesterone, right? So please note it down. The ovaries are like testes. Ovaries are like testes. They have both exocrine as well as endocrine function. Full stop.
Exocrine and endocrine function, right? So
Right. Full stop. Exocrine function. Exocrine function is production of ova and endocrine function is secretion of female hormone, estrogen and progesterone. Estrogen and progesterone. Estrogen and progesterone. Next point. Now I want to, before going deep into that, I want to like tell you the structure of this ovary, right? And structure of ovary. Just so, what is the structure of ovary? Look, this is the enlarged structure of ovary, right? Here I have shown you the detailed structure of ovary. Look, this ovary is covered by a membrane, and the membrane which covered the ovary around it, and obviously I have told you that the membrane which cover any organ, the name of that membrane is peritoneum, right? So here the membrane, it is also made up of epithelium. So the peritoneum, the name of the membrane is peritoneum, and it is made up of epithelium. Inside there, formation of initial level, formation of primary follicle takes place. Then during the menstrual cycle, the follicle means the bubble-like structure, and there is inside there is a gel-like structure, right? And it have ova. So these follicle grow. After few days, these follicle grow and they become growing follicle. When growing follicle enlarges, what happens in the mid of this? This is the egg. This one is egg, and at the mid of there, the cells actually dissolve and they become a gel-like structure. This is called antrum. So these follicles are called mature follicle. Actually, mature follicle are those follicle where the antrum formation takes place. So initially there are the egg and surrounded by spherical structure that is called made up of cell, that is called growing follicle. Then growing follicle grow and some of the cell dissolve and formation of antrum takes place. And this is the egg. And when these further enlarges, they become the mature Graphene follicle, right? Mature Graphene follicle formation takes place. At the 14th day, you know, these Graphene follicle. So when mature follicle when the follicle become mature, we call them Graphene follicle, right? So first primary follicle are produced, then growing follicle, then mature follicle. When follicle get mature, we call them Graphene follicle. Graphene follicle is fully mature follicle. At the 14th day of menstrual cycle, what happened? This Graphene follicle rupture. When Graphene follicle rupture, egg is released, but follicle do not die. This is structure do not die. Egg is released, and after, so this was the exocrine function. When after the egg release, this follicle shrink and become some yellow color structure, and we call it corpus luteum. Now what happened? This corpus luteum have endocrine function. So till the 14th day, this was the ovary work as a exocrine, and after the 14th day, when corpus luteum formation takes place, what is the corpus luteum? Corpus luteum is just the rest remaining part other than egg, the remaining part of the Graphene follicle. This corpus luteum is endocrine, and this is like a yellow color structure. It releases the progesterone during pregnancy and relaxing hormone at the time of the delivery. Right? And this part where all these follicle lie, this is called stroma, right? And if pregnancy do not takes place, this follicle start dying. If pregnancy takes place, the corpus luteum will persist throughout the pregnancy because it is required to support the pregnancy. But suppose that in normal female, when pregnancy do not takes place, what happens? This corpus luteum start degenerating, and this is called regressing corpus luteum, and finally it degrades. Right. So this is the complete structure of ovary. Is it clear to you?
Yes.
Right. So I shall do one thing. Take the screenshot of this one as well. And this is 3-marker question for your board examination. Sometimes they ask as a like, please draw the well-labeled diagram of the ovary. Right. Then you have to draw this diagram, and this is important. This diagram is important, right? So take the screenshot, then just jot down few points. Okay. So please note down. The ovaries are composed of solid connective tissue, stroma, solid connective tissue, stroma, full stop. It is wrapped by a layer of germinal epithelium. So all the sex cells are either sperm or egg. They are produced by these epithelium, only germinal epithelium, right? Full stop. Germinal epithelium. Next point. The ovary is surrounded by a layer. Called peritoneum. Right, this one. Ovary is surrounded by a layer called peritoneum. Next point. The mature ovary is called Graphene follicle. The mature ovary is called Graphene follicle. Full stop. The mature ovary is called Graphene follicle. Next point. The Graphene follicle rupture. The Graphene follicle rupture at 14th day and releases ovum.
Sir, can you repeat again after 14 days?
From where?
Can you please repeat again after 14 days?
After 14th day, or sorry, on 14th day. On 14th day, Graphene follicle rupture and releases ovum. Full stop. After releasing ovum, it becomes endocrine gland full stop. Now, the follicle part is called Corpus Luteum. Full stop. It secretes progesterone hormone. It secretes this one. It secretes progesterone hormone during pregnancy. It releases progesterone hormone during pregnancy and during pregnancy, and it releases relaxin hormone at the end of pregnancy.
So it releases relaxing hormones at the end of pregnancy, right?
Right. At the termination of pregnancy, when childbirth takes place, actually is really relaxin hormone. What relaxin hormone do? Relaxin hormone put the pressure, right, and it relax the ligament so that the birth of a child takes place. So before the birth of the child, the relaxin hormone releasing takes place, right? When the 9 month get completed, then the relaxin hormone is secreted, right? Okay. One last point. The degenerating corpus luteum, this one. The degenerating corpus luteum is called corpus albicus. Is called corpus albicans. So this regenerating part, the regressing or degenerating part is called corpus albicus. Is it clear? So ovary clear? Any doubt, Aisha?
No, sir.
Okay, fine.
Sir, I
Next.
have one doubt,
Yeah.
actually. So, like you said, it will be like it determined at the 9 month of pregnancy. And what
So
you said-
be a bit loud, Aisha, actually.
Yeah, hello. Am I
Yeah.
audible? I'm
Yeah.
asking that you said, right, like it will be determined at the 9 month of pregnancy. So what about those who have early childbirth and labor?
Who have childbirth at?
Labor, like 7
Okay.
months. and 8
Okay,
months.
premature birth. You are talking like baby
Yeah.
get birth at the 7th month and 8th month, right?
Yeah.
Actually, you know what happens, this is the, suppose that a female like is not completely healthy, right? So what happened, the relaxin hormone releases before the 9 month, right? So if the night before the 9 month relaxin hormone will be released, the ligament will be relaxed, right, and the childbirth will take place. This is all about the timing of relaxin hormone. You know that the most of the people, they are sick because of the imbalances of hormone, right?
Yeah.
Premature hair fall, premature aging, right? And it is all affected like our body, like somebody of us get fat, somebody of us are very slim, skinny type, right, very thin, right?
Yeah.
So these all the abnormalities which takes place in a person, these all the abnormality takes place in a person because of imbalances of hormone. And the imbalances of hormone takes place psychologically and physically, right? Like our lifestyle. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So did you got all the things?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Crystal clear?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Next is fallopian tube. Fallopian tube. Fallopian tube. So you know, Aisha, one more thing, because like
So
you know, in the meantime, sorry to interrupt you. You know, in case if you are getting some disconnect with me, right, or in case if you are facing any problem in between, then please let me know, because you know, sir was teaching you, right? and like every teacher have, there is a like the different way of teaching, right? We all have different way of teaching, right? So there may be some disconnect. If you are disconnecting, then if you have any disconnect or if you have any problem, so please let me know. Fine.
Yes, sure.
Okay. So do you used to write down the notes or not?
Yes, sir, we used to write it along with that also.
Fine, fine. So please, fallopian tube. Next is fallopian tube. This, right? So we talk about the ovary in detail. I dictated everything regarding the ovary. We are following the same sequence which is in the NCERT, right? Okay. And the next thing we have to discuss about the fallopian tube. So please note it down. Fallopian tube is about 10 to 12 centimeter. Fallopian tube is about 10 to 12 centimeter long muscular tube. Full stop. Its function is to convey egg from ovary to uterus. So its function is to take the egg and convey it till the uterus, means till this point, right? So that is the function. Fine. Full stop. It provide appropriate environment. It provide appropriate environment for its fertilization. Full stop. It can be divided into infundibulum, ampulla, and isthmus. Infundibulum, comma, ampulla, and isthmus. Full stop. One more point. The fertilization of egg. The fertilization, it's very important point. Fertilization of egg, it do not takes place in uterus. Mind it, Aisha. It do not takes place in uterus. Actually, it takes place in where? Fallopian tube. So fertilization takes place at this point. Then, so sperm have to travel from here in vagina, from vagina to cervical canal, then to the uterus, and then to fallopian tube. And the egg reaches from here ovary to infundibulum to ampulla and then isthmus. So egg reaches at this point, and sperm also reaches at this point. Fertilization takes place at this point. After the fertilization, egg come out and get implanted here. Where? In uterus. Then it is stuck, and that process called implantation. When this egg roll out from the fallopian tube, it roll out and it reaches to uterus, and it is stuck with the uterus wall. We call it implantation. Clear? So please note it down. Uterus. Sorry. So fertilization takes place in fallopian tube. Next subheading is uterus. Uterus is also known as womb. Uterus is also known as womb. Full stop. It is large, highly elastic structure. Full stop. It varies in size. Full stop. It can increase its volume. It can increase its volume up to 500 times. In bracket, you can write from 10 centimeter square to 5,000 centimeter square. From 10 centimeter square, sorry, centimeter cubic. From 10 centimeter cubic to 5,000 centimeter cubic. Next point. The uterus have thick, highly vascular wall covered by highly vascular wall covered by outer perimetrium, comma, middle myometrium, and inner endometrium. Full stop. Myometrium, actually this is the myometrium which help in the childbirth. So during the childbirth, relaxin is produced, and this relaxin and during this time these muscles, these myometrium muscles contract, and due to contraction of myometrium, the pressure is built, and due to this pressure the child or baby is expelled out, right? So the contraction of myometrium is resulted for the birth of a child, right? So please note it down. Myometrium is involved in uterine movement, and help in childbirth. One last point. Vagina is a large elastic muscular tube, a large elastic muscular tube of 7.5 centimeter. Right. So next, one more thing which I want to tell you. Just a minute. Actually, this part, just let me draw it. One more thing, which is a bit important, that these terms are given over there, that labia majora, labia minora, clitoris, and this one. One more thing, that is this one, clitoris and hymen, right? So give me one second. Actually, there is two covering. The inner covering, so this is the external structure of the vagina. So inner covering, this is called labia minora, right? And the outer covering, this is called labia majora, right? So there are two layers. It is not very important, but it is given in your NCERT page number 46. So I'm telling you what is the labia majora, what is the labia minora, and in the labia, at the joint of this labia minora, there is a point. This is clitoris. So clitoris is actually, it have a very high sensitivity, and it have it is the point where all the nerves meet, right? And this clitoris is actually the sign of penis in female, right? And then there is a poriferous, there is a layer, perforated layer. Here is a perforated layer. This perforated layer is called hymen, right? This hymen. And this is a very thin perforated layer, and there is a perforation or small holes so that the menstrual outflow come out of it. And this layer get ruptured during the like exercise, during the playing and all that, right? So this was something, and need not do that much. Note down if somebody like if your school authority asks you to write it down, the female sex organ, then you have to just mention this. Is it clear? Everything clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, Aisha, come to the one more thing that is important in female reproductive structure. This is the actually breast part, right? So here we have to understand this is the structure of breast. It is also considered in the human female sex organ. So look, this is these structures are called ribs. These structure which you can see, these are the ribs part, right? So these are the part of ribs, right? This is the actually lateral section, right? And between the ribs, this is the muscle between the ribs, and outside of the rib there is a projection of the muscles. These are called pectoral major muscles, right? And this structure is breast. So actually in the breast, the outer layer, this outer layer, this is called actually areola. Inside the areola there are two things. So there are small these lobes, they are called mammary lobes, and in the mammary lobes there are alveoli like structure, these are called mammary alveolus. And from every mammary alveolus, so what is the mammary alveolus? This kind of pouch like structure, this kind of the pouch like structure, they are actually basically called mammary alveolus, right? Inside mammary alveolus, the actually production of the milk takes place and after the birth. And then these are the mammary duct. So these kind of the duct arising from the mammary alveolus, they are called mammary duct. And these mammary duct merges with each other and make like a bigger pipe like structure. This is called ampulla. And these ampulla meet at a point. This is called lactiferous duct. And after lactiferous duct open at the nipple. Formation of the milk and activation of the mammary gland takes place only after the birth of the child. Like why? Because when a child birth, like after the relaxin is released, when the child birth takes place, a hormone that is called prolactin hormone. So prolactin hormone is secreted, and prolactin hormone is responsible for production of the milk. And oxytocin, one more hormone that is production, that is the responsible for releasing of the milk, right? So that's how the release of the milk takes place. So actually the mammary glands are considered the modification of sweat gland, right? So these mammary glands are called modification of the sweat gland. After the birth, prolactin is secreted. Prolactin help in production of the milk. And again, one more hormone, oxytocin, is released. Oxytocin help in release of the milk. And at the initial days, when a birth of a child takes place, so it is called that at the initial days, after the birth, till the 2-3 days, secretion of a thick kind of the milk takes place, that is called colostrum. Colostrum is thin yellow colored fluid, and it is secreted before the milk. It have lots of the antibodies which give the resistance to newly born child. That's why doctors suggest that after the birth, every child must take the mother's milk, because from the mother's milk it get the colostrum, and from the colostrum it get the immunity power. If the boy or if the girl or if the baby is not taking initial days milk feeding, then the colostrum do not goes inside the body, and due to deficiency of the colostrum, the child become weak, and he or she do not get the resistance against the diseases, right? So this is all about the mammary gland or breast. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Take this screenshot and put the heading breast. Start noting now.
Then, sir, shall I start later?
Sorry.
And then I took this.
Yeah. Then we have to note it down something, right?
Yes, sir.
These are the modified sweat gland. These are modified sweat gland. Full stop. The breast contain fatty and connective tissue. And mammary gland. Full stop. The gland open into nipples. The gland open into nipples by the lactiferous duct. The lactiferous duct help in secretion of milk. Full stop. A nursing mother means the mother which is involved in breastfeeding. The nursing mother produces 1 to 2 liter of milk per day. A nursing mother produces 1 to 2 liter milk per day. Next point. On infant's birth, the hormone prolactin, very important and underline. Infant's birth, the hormone prolactin is released that stimulate production of milk. And the hormone oxytocin causes release of milk when infant suck the breast. Right. So this was all about the mammary gland. So go through with your NCRT, like whatever in female sex organ. Go through with NCRT. In case if you have any doubt, please ask. if you have any, like, if you have any term where you have doubt, so please let me know. Then we will go in next topic, that is the gametogenesis part. And gametogenesis part of the here this one, female reproductive system, that is more important than spermatogenesis and a bit complex.
So we can do it now. Like,
Sorry, Aisha?
Start now, sir, because at morning also I read and you made it clear.
Actually, you know, your voice is very feeble, very weak. I'm unable to listen it.
I'm sorry, sir. Now
No,
is
no.
it audible? Hello?
Yeah, please tell me.
I was saying that, sir, I read it in morning also, and now when you said it's clear to me, we can go for that. Well, because for gametogenesis, maybe I need more time.
You know, Aisha, please type it as a text. Please type it as text. Okay, fine, fine. Thank you. Sorry, actually, I was unable to listen you here. Fine. So we can start with the gametogenesis. Okay. Even after today's class, go through with your NCRT or helping book. In case if you have any problem, you can ask me or with the sir, with the Rahul sir, in next class as well. No issue. So, oogenesis, right? So it is very important, right? And I expect that after the class, take the screenshot right now, and after the class, draw it as it's visible to you on the screen, right? So as it is, draw it as it is, because this is the complete information, right? So you won't get this all information at one point, right? So can you tell me, Aisha, what is the difference between the spermatogenesis and oogenesis? Or what is the difference between the gamete formation in a male and gamete formation in a female? Any idea?
Shall I type or message?
Huh?
Shall I type or message?
No, you can speak. I'll try to listen.
Yeah. You asked me the difference, right? So.
Yeah, right.
Like oogenesis takes place in ovary, and what we are saying testis. Then spermatogenesis it takes place in testis.
Okay.
Then what we are saying.
Aisha, is there any difference in the age of secretion, like production of the gamete?
What we are saying. For spermatogenesis there is limited growth phase, and for oogenesis there is elaborated growth phase, right?
Okay.
And then spermatogenesis it begins at the puberty, and oogenesis it begins at the embryonic stage.
Very good, excellent. That's what I want to actually ask you. Very good, excellent. That is the difference. That is the basic difference, because spermatogenesis takes place at the age of puberty. You know, previously the age of the puberty in the male child was 13 years, but nowadays due to global warming, scientists says this is because of the global warming. I don't know, but different scientists have different their perception. But most of the scientists says because of the global warming, the temperature has increased, and due to increase in the temperature, now the age of spermatogenesis has reduced to the age of the 11th. Previously, at the age of the 13, sperm formation used to start and puberty takes place. But nowadays, in the males, puberty starts at the age of the 11, and the same with the female. Previously, the age of the egg release, right, means menstrual cycle starts. That was the 11 year previously, but nowadays this is the 9 year, right? So all these age has decreased because of the global warming. Scientists, what the scientists have common consensus, right? One more thing, what you told. that spermatogenesis start at the puberty, but every female child, in every unborn female child, egg production means the formation oogenesis starts, not egg production, oogenesis starts, right? So it is said that every female baby take birth with a stalk of the egg, and approximately 60,000 potential egg every child, female child takes birth with the 60,000 potential egg. Out of these 60,000, at every month, one egg get mature and the rest get destroyed, and rest got destroyed, right? So look, now we have divided, like the spermatogenesis, oogenesis, we have divided oogenesis in three phases: multiplication phase, growth phase, and maturation phase. Multiplication phase is that phase when egg multiply, they divide, egg cells divide, they multiply, right? Growth phase, when division of the egg start, means a division of the egg cell stops. Now the size of egg increases, right? It increases its DNA, it increases its protoplasm, it increases its cell organelle. Now the maturation phase is that phase when an egg become mature ova, right? So we have divided oogenesis in three phases. What happens? Every ovary have some germ cells, and in the previous slide I have told you there was a germinal epithelium. Let me tell you again, right? Let me show you that slide again. Look, in female reproductive structure, this is the ovary, right? In ovary there are some follicles, right? Inside the follicle, right, inside the, like, these are the follicles. This inner layer of the ovary is made up of germinal epithelium. I have told you like few minutes before. So every sex organ have germinal epithelium because the formation of gamete takes place from the germinal epithelium, right? So what happens? Look, it have germinal epithelium. From the germinal epithelium, there are germ cells, and these germ cells are called oogonium. They are diploid cells. In germ cells or diploid cells, mitosis takes place, means equational division, right? So you know, from the mitosis, from a diploid cell, two diploid cell formation takes place. So at this time, what happened? Multiplication takes place. Multiplication phase takes place actually in ovaries in female fetus, means unborn female. When any female fetus is developing in the womb inside its mother, right, inside its mother body, on that time what happened? The multiplication takes place. Germinal epithelium multiply, and germinal epithelium multiply means oogonium multiply, and after formation of, they form more and more oogonium, right? Now what happened after the birth, before puberty, right? At this stage, what happened? Growth phase takes place. It occurs at each month of the ovary after puberty. What happened? These now the female baby have born with the stalk of the egg, means every female baby takes birth with approximately 60,000 oogonium. Now the process stop at here, right? And these 60,000 oogonium are present in the form of grape-like structure, grape-like bunch. We call it egg nest, right? So every female baby take birth with the egg nest. Now what happened? At each month in the ovary, female after puberty, means after the puberty. Now after the 11 year, what happened? The formation of primary oocyte takes place, right? This is called first resting phase, right? What happened here? In first resting phase, cytoplasm increases, nucleus enlarges, and the size of oogonium increases. Now out of 100 of oogonium, only one oogonium increases its size, and we call it primary oocyte. So growth phase takes place at the puberty time. Now what happened at the puberty time? When puberty is achieved, growth phase start. After the growth, and meiosis first takes place. In meiosis first, it is unequational division, because in meiosis first, from one oocyte, two oocytes are formed, but they are not equal in size. So one is larger and another is the smaller one. The larger one is called secondary oocyte, and the smaller one is called first polar body. Now this thing get paused. Please mind it. This thing get paused. So in every female, which is like where the what to say, where the fertilization do not take place. So oocyte formation takes place, secondary oocyte formation takes place. If fertilization do not take place, secondary oocyte get destroyed at the time of the menstrual outflow. But if the copulation takes place or during the intercourse process, if the sperm is released, means pregnancy takes place, then what happens in secondary oocyte, sperm enters. So sperms enter with the secondary oocyte. When sperm enter in secondary oocyte, then the next meiosis second takes place. If sperm do not enter in the egg, meiosis second do not take place. So when sperm enter inside, nucleus do not fuses. When sperm inside oocyte, secondary oocyte, the second meiosis takes place. Now the first polar body make two more polar body, and secondary oocyte divide into a mature ovum and a polar body. These three polar body, they are small cells, they get degenerated and consumed by this mature ovum. The mature ovum is a cell, one cell. This is an ovum having two nucleus, right? N plus N. Here the nucleus protoplasm fuses, but nucleus do not fuses. So in secondary oocyte, when sperm enter, the protoplasm of sperm and protoplasm of oocyte, it both of the fuses, means plasmogamy takes place. This term plasmogamy, protoplasm fuses, we call this process plasmogamy. So plasmogamy takes place, but nucleus do not fuses, means karyogamy do not take place. When the mature, after some time in mature ovum, the nucleus fuses, we call it karyogamy, means karyogamy takes place, and the formation of zygote takes place, right? So look, in unmarried or the female which have not gone through the intercourse, right, where in the menstrual cycle, this is the secondary oocyte which come out, this is not the ovum. Formation of ovum takes place only when this sperm fuses with the what, egg or secondary oocyte. Is that clear or not? It's a bit complex.
Yes,
Crystal clear, Aisa?
yes, sir, it's clear.
Okay, so Aisa, take the screenshot, and I expect that leave the space in your notebook, and I expect that after the class you will draw it as it is, and please put the all information which I have written down over here, right? And put the heading Oogenesis. Start writing down in Oogenesis. Oogenesis takes place in ovaries. Oogenesis takes place in ovaries. Full stop. Formation of egg begins before birth. Formation of egg begins before birth, but is completed after fertilization. Full stop. Next one. The process of formation of egg, the process of formation of egg is called oogenesis. The process of formation of egg is called oogenesis. And it takes place in three phases. That is multiplication phase, comma, growth phase, comma, maturation phase. Multiplication phase, growth phase, and multiplication phase, growth phase, and maturation phase. Just a minute, Aisha. have you gone through with the spermatogenesis?
Yeah.
Okay, so sir have explained you that the male sex organ, then spermatogenesis. He has explained
Yeah.
for you. Okay, fine. Fine. So actually, that's what I want to know, because the sequence is this one. So that we are in the right sequence. Fine. First, put this first subheading: multiplication phase. In multiplication phase, which takes place during fetal development stage, full stop. Germinal epithelium of ovary have certain cell larger than other cell. These are called oogonium. These are called oogonium or egg mother cell or egg mother cell. These are called oogonium or egg mother cell in ovary. Full stop. Diploid oogonium multiply by mitotic division, and forms egg nest Full stop. Next point. One cell in egg nest, so out of these all egg nest, only one cell in egg nest grows and become primary oocyte. Full stop. Next point. The primary oocyte get nourishment and forms Graphene follicle. Full stop. Primary oocyte remains at prophase. Primary oocyte remains at prophase of meiosis first, just before ovulation. Next, growth phase. The growth phase of primary oocyte is very long. It extends from birth to the puberty. It extends over many years. Full stop. Its cytoplasm and nucleus, its cytoplasm and nucleus enlarges after puberty. Third subheading, maturation phase. The primary oocyte undergoes first meiotic division and produces two daughter cells. Full stop. One daughter cell is extremely small, where another is larger one. Full stop. The larger one is called secondary oocyte. Full stop. This small cell is known first polar body. Full stop. Both are, please underline this statement, both are haploid in number. Here, N cell, both are the haploid, because this is the meiosis. And you know, meiosis first is what? Reductional division. Here, number of chromosome reduces, right? So both are haploid in number. Next paragraph. Secondary oocyte starts undergoing second meiotic division, which does not proceed beyond metaphase until sperm enters into it. The secondary oocyte start undergoing second meiotic division, which does not proceed beyond metaphase until a sperm enters into it. This is called second resting phase. This is called second resting phase. Full stop. After fertilization, second meiotic division is completed. Full stop. Next point. Due to this, formation of a mature ovum and free polar body takes place. Formation of mature ovum and free polar body takes place. Next point. The polar body degenerates. Due to lack of cytoplasm and function of food. the polar body degenerate due to lack of cytoplasm and food. Full stop. They do not have any function. They do not have any function. Right? So this was all about the oogenesis. Go through with your NCERT and let me know, Aisha, if you have any problem or any doubt in this topic. Done, Aisha? Okay. So that's it for the today. And go through with these both of the topic through NCERT, through helping book, through school notes. And if you are facing any problem, if you have any doubt, please note it down. Either me or the sir, whoever will be in the class, he'll be clearing you out. Right, Aisha?
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Sasha, did you got all the point what we discussed today?
Yes, sir.
Any problem?
No, sir.
Was you able to jot it down, all the notes?